Ooh, hello YouTube. This is Mary. I'm finally back. God, it's been a long time. I've been doing pretty good. I've been better than I've had some difficult days, but I'm getting better. I I think last time I was on, I was getting those steroid injections, and I finished that. Boy, it make you gain so much weight. But I'm back down to my normal level right now, and only thing I'm having problems is with my shoulder, my right shoulder. I had it replaced, and I guess about 10 years after having it replaced, I had to go do a revision. That's what they call it, where they take the the what do you call this thing anyway? This bone. They take it out and put a new attachment to the rod that's in my arm. So they did that, and right now I'm going through some more problems with the shoulder. They want to do some ablation therapy where it's not a guarantee that it's going to work, but what they basically going to do is just burn the nerve that's running across there, so I won't feel so much pain. And man, my copay is like $1,500. And okay, I said I'll do it. I'll charge it on a credit card or whatever. And come to find out, you know how you older people like me, you get all these phone calls that just worry you to death about changing Medicare, blah blah blah. Do you have A and Medicare Advantage? They were just wearing me out. One day I got 50 calls. And so this particular day I said I'm gonna listen to what they have to say. I listened. And it sounded good, they said that they would give you, I would write with I'm not gonna say who I had, but I was getting like $80 a month with food replacement and just under over the counter stuff. So I said it was 80. And this particular salesperson told me that I could get 180 if I switched with them. And so I listened, kept listening. And then she had all my doctor information in front of her, and I'm listening. And she named off the doctors, and I'm not gonna say what company she was with, but she said that this particular insurance does they accept your doctors. She named them all out the street, and it sounded good. I said, okay, so I don't have to switch doctors. She said, no, Miss Childs, you don't have to switch doctors. I said, well, okay. And the biggest part my surgery, I was needing on my shoulder. So yeah, she named that. Oh yes, they are in it and this and that. So I went on and switched. Boy, the next month they sent the little credit card for the food and grocery allowances. And come to find out, even though she named my doctors, what street they're on, yeah, they are with us and blah blah blah. It was three of my major doctors that didn't take their insurance, and it would have to be my neurologist and my orthopedic doctor. I was so hurt. I just said, Lord, and these people, I was just getting ready to charge the $1,500 for my shoulder, getting that out of the way because that pain is horrible. I can't, it's just I'm limited. My range of motion is limited. So this ablation therapy, they said it might last a year and it may not. But if I had to do $1,500 a year, I was willing to do it just to not be in pain. So come to find out, I had to start all over, and I said, well, I'm gonna stay with this insurance carrier. And then my primary care, they were with this company. So my primary care, they helped me and look for some neurologist and orthopedic doctor. And who else I didn't have? Oh, my pain management doctor. Oh God, I'm scared of that. So I think we have everything under control, but back like I wanted, but not with different doctors. And so I gotta wait another week to get the referral set up, and then I'll be able to see the doctor about this pain and do whatever kind of surgery they're supposed to do. But other than that, I know it's been a long time since I've been on here, and nothing has really changed. I think April, I believe I went to spend some time with some young people, and it's nice to be around young people. They are young writers, Black Writers Weekend. And you young writers, you ought to get in touch with them. Black Writers Weekend. It was so much fun to be around them because when I decided I like writing, I writing, not books, but just writing, because I wrote for my high school newspaper. I loved that writing, and so it was good to see young people and to encourage them to write, because when I first started writing books, it was hard. You didn't have anyone that it cost a lot of money. Let me put it like that. If you wrote a book, a manuscript, you had to get somebody. You had to pay these big publishers, and they don't even want to fool with you. You do all your hinting and throwing out. Please read my book, and I just didn't know anything about self-publishing. But I finally learned how to do that with KDP, and so that's who I use. I use one company one time, a pretty Balboa Press. I used them, and it cost me a fortune. God, $8,000 to write with them. With KDP, you got the same thing, and I didn't spend no more than $150. So I like to go the cheapest way, but now that I'm much older, I just don't have the time and the energy to put in it. But I would always try to encourage young people to do it, especially black writers. We got a whole different story that has not been told. And if we could tell it to the world, it's amazing the things that we can do. And I encourage everybody that even just write for your own good, because it's salvation in writing. I know it is. The word. My mother used to say, the word will live on. She was telling me, I'll be dead and gone, and my words would be here. I still have a letter that she wrote when she was on her deathbed. And she said, Mary, get me a pencil and paper. I need to write a letter. And so I got the pencil and paper, and I thought she wanted to write a letter to her sister who lived in Columbus, Ohio. And she said, write it for me. And she said, no, give it to me. You just tell me if I'm doing it right, since you write for your school. I said, okay, Mama. I gave her the pencil and paper, and she was writing a letter to Jesus. And I said, oh, can you do that? I said in my mind, could you do that? And I still have that letter today. She was talking about how she was happy that Jesus was a healer, and he was healing her. And it was just a wonderful letter. And I have that letter. I still have it in my possession, but her letter is written in one of the books that I wrote. So, you just write. And it could help the next generations beyond after you leave, because you'll be surprised if you don't have a big family, and you might get one little great nephew or niece and say, well, what was my great grandmother like, and this and that. You may have pictures of them, but the words that they write, that's them. So I encourage all of you to write, and you could hide it. You don't want everybody that's living in your time to read it, but after you dead and gone, get your keepsake and put your writings in there. I get so much joy of writing, and then even I get joy when I write something and I forget that I wrote, and I go back, clean out my closet, whatever. I said, oh, that look like my handwriting. And I read it and I smile. I say, oh God, that was me. And what was on my mind? And I did date all my little notes. I said, man, I was really going through then. So just write and get you a diary, man, and then go back and read. You'll say, God has brought me from a long, long ways. But every time I'm on here, I say I'm gonna try to do better, and bear with me. I'm always in a lot of pain with this MS and basic arthritis and stuff, but I'm going on 73 years old, so had no idea that the pain would be so real, and it is real. All during the night, you get up and go to the bathroom, you get ready to move, that pain is there. But they treat me pretty well with pain medication, but it's so hard for people who are actually in pain. And with the opiates, they are really strict with that. So I am on 2 opiates, one with the fentanyl, and then I have the hydrocodone, the highest dosage you could get. And I definitely don't want to get addicted to it, but I am, because I wear a patch that I have to change it every 7 days. And if I let that patch run out, I have to go to the emergency room. I'm in so much pain I can't walk. I just need that dose of opiates back in my system. So I'm getting the hiccups. I didn't want to be like that because I told you I was a drug addict, and this pain, you dealing with pain, it's worse. And it's not like I was on cocaine or heroin. It was just the crack, and crack doesn't leave you physically dependent on it. You will be mentally dependent on it, but your body don't go through any changes. You just have to get over it and go eat some cookies or candy or something, and you'll be all right. But the other drugs your body will go into different phases because your body really needs this. So thank God I didn't get on that. But the crack is just as bad because it has your mind just tore up. You a zip damn fool. I was thinking about a person. When I say a person, I knew that was on crack. We were intimate and all that kind of stuff. But they were on this crack so bad. And my habit was just as bad as his was, but he would light that pipe, and the thing is hot. It will burn you. This pipe is hot. But every time he would smoke crack, he would be afraid that somebody was coming at the door, peeping in. And so he would do this. Crack pipe is hot. He would put it in his pocket, trying to hide it from the police, whoever, and would burn holes in his thigh because he done stuck this hot thing in his pocket, and it was just sores, blisters, both legs. I thought about that. I said, dog, that stuff is hot, and you got it up to your thigh. That crack, and any kind of drug, it would make you lose your mind. And I had some real bad habits too, because I would be like that, getting high, and my nose is itching. I had longer hair then, and I would just scratch my head and pull my hair. You would think I had been shocked with electricity. My hair would stand all over my head. And that would happen every time I did that crack. And then when it was all gone, I would get on the floor and fiend for it. I'd be on the floor picking up any little white spots I saw on the floor, and yeah, that's some crack. And I'd put those pieces in the crack pipe and try to burn it and just ruin the whole pipe, but I just knew it was some crack. So that was hell. People say you're gonna die and go to hell. You stay on drugs, you are in hell. And it takes the power of God, your God, whoever, Jesus, whoever you call God, to deliver you from that. Ooh, I'm gonna try to be loud. I don't want to get too loud. But it takes a power greater than yourself to get off of that. And I thank my God. And I think that, people don't understand this. when I say it's not that I don't believe in Jesus and all of that. That is the way they in America, the Christian, they gave us that God. So I worshiped that God, Jesus, for a long time, and I still call on Jesus. But in my serene hours, in the middle of the night, I'm calling on this spiritual guide, Layla. Layla. And I'm so thankful that I got a chance to meet this God. This Layla is a God that came to me when I was, I don't know, going through some things, and I would, when a church didn't do it for me, I would go to different sources. I studied Reiki and Buddhism and all of this. I just wanted to, it was something else because I just squeezed Christianity. I said, ooh, let me soak it some more. Maybe it's going to get sweet again. But I couldn't taste it anymore. So I started searching elsewhere, and I learned transcendental meditation, and that helped me a whole lot. And I was able to meet my inner God. This God that we say something told me. I got an unction that this. And this voice, we all hear a voice, but this voice that I've been hearing since I was like 9 years old came to me when I'm grown and, going through this thing with drugs, came to me and through transcendental meditation and told me what her name was. And this is a female voice that I heard. I didn't hear a man's voice. I didn't hear somebody that I didn't know. It was my own voice. I heard my voice. And if you pay attention to your mind when something say they just lying, that ain't gonna happen, or something say don't go over their house, get up and go here, that is your voice. Because if you hear a voice that you don't recognize, you better start running, because you hearing schizophrenia voices or something is wrong. You should be able to hear a voice, your own voice, and that is you. So I learned who this voice was, and I got to the point during the meditation where I could ask this voice. I said, what is your name? And this voice told me their name was Layla. And that's what I've been saying. Let me talk to Layla for a minute. And you might say I'm crazy, but it's okay. Because it's good to know when you don't find comfort in what used to comfort you, you find comfort in something else. And it's wholesome comfort. Because I was finding comfort with the drugs and the crack cocaine, but no more of that stuff. So it is just, I'm glad I know what I know, and I know who is what. Layla. It's a wonderful thing. So if you really want to know some more, look up transcendental meditation, and you might get different varieties of it. But I didn't look it up. I went and meditated with some people, and I think it was the Buddhists, meditating with the Buddhists. And then I went and meditated with the Indian people. And it was different. It just didn't agree with me. And after a while, when I found the things that didn't agree with me, I said, ooh, what am I doing? I'm just going crazy, going around these different religions and trying to find something that soothes my taste. And Layla came to me and actually talked to me. I heard my own voice say to me that as long, Mary, and he'll say Mary, as long as you can taste love, you can taste that. You can get a little bit of love from it and you move on. Because what your soul is seeking is love. So I tasted a little bit of love and a lot of them. And when they started putting a whole lot of other stuff in it, I say, this ain't tasting right. But the Christian scripture says, oh, taste and see. that the Lord, He is good. He's good because you taste that love. That's what you can do. You can start recognizing what love tastes like, and you'll be looking for that. And it is not like you may be kissing on somebody and see what you taste like, but it's that warm feeling, and you can feel it wrapping your soul up, and you may even say, "Ooh, yes, that is some love. Thank you, God." So do that if that's what if you want to, if you get tired of following behind preachers and the preacher, I'm going to walk out the pulpit because I've sinned and this and that. And if you're tired of that kind of stuff, it's always something else that can fill your soul. Just don't give up on everything. I know the people from the church that I used to go to, raised up in Pentecostal, when they see me on the streets, they look angry. They're looking so angry because they expect me to be toothless, ugly, dark, and just crazy. They expect me because she left the church and she got on drugs. That's what you get when you leave God. But when I smiled, they said, "Oh my God, she's all right." And they know it because there are some other people in the church that I still will go and see about in their illness, and they'll ask me to pray for them, or they'll ask me to interpret their dreams, and that's what I would do for them. But it's still me, and I want to show the glory of God in my face and the things that I do, and I'm not afraid of people. I'm not. I told you one time we were on a Greyhound bus going to the casino, and these three women, they got on the bus late, and we at another stop, so the bus was full, but they found some seats in the front. Three women, they had their liquor, you can see they brown paper bags, and I'm in the middle of the bus. I said, well, they gonna get on his bus and start some mess. And by the time we got away, we about 30 miles from the casino, these women got to cutting up. They were getting ready to fight about who was drinking too much liquor, and there's not enough liquor left in this bottle. They was getting ready to fight, and the bus driver had headphones on his head, so he couldn't hear all this cussing and going on. And when they stood up, I said to myself, Lord, they standing up. They really fitting to fight. Because two of them was sitting in the same seat, and the other one was sitting behind them. So I said, how are they going to fight? How three people going to fight? It's got to be two against one, isn't it? I say, I don't get it. But here's a Jamaican sitting in the back of the bus. He stood up. He said, bus driver, stop the bus. They're going to fight. They're going to fight. And I said, sure are. But I stood up in the middle of the aisle, and I raised my hand. I said, peace, be still. Do you know these three women, all of them, all three of them fell out. They fell in their seats. And they didn't wake up till we made it to the casino. They had to wake them up to get them off the bus. So that command and drive that God gives to all of us, you just got to know. In fact, we all use it when we have to, if we're not scary. You'll say, hey, wait a minute, not in my house. You're not going to do that. No. So that we have that. We're not going to say, oh, I'm so scared. Let me call the police. You'll speak against these things. That's your instinct. So use your instinct. And if that don't work, then you call 911. But I'm going to call on the powers that be first. And I tell you, these three women, they were out immediately. Oh, man. But that's why I'm telling you this, because you need to have that. This day and time, you need to be able to access your sword and your shield as quick as you can. And you better not be scared to use it. Man. I ain't taking nothing back what I said, but when this stuff started, acting up. Oh, thank you. Wait a minute. I get carried away. But it's been a long time since I came on here. I want y'all to know that I'm still feeling good and just when I get empowered, the joy of God is my strength. me and my sister-in-law, not my sister, well, my longtime lover, me and his sister, we can talk about the goodness of God, and she worships God in a different way. She's a staunch Baptist or whatever, and she really she's into that, and she wants to be right and convert people. And I'll tell her, I said, baby, I've been through all that, and it's not that I think I know more than you. I just know what works for me now. I can't wear them same size shoes I used to wear when I was in the 7th grade. No, I'm comfortable where I am. But we can spend some time, sometimes talking about how good God is, and that's what you call love. We sit up and because God is there, and we just get to hollering and stuff, and Harold, he'll get to hollering. I said, woo, we have a church in here. Look at, and even though he has dementia, he still remember the goodness of God. And this boy can get to screaming and hollering about, yes, Lord. So that let you know how real and how God is still God, regardless of what you're going through. So I'm going to get off of here. But anyway, I'm going to see y'all call me sometime. But I pray for me. I'm gonna do better because God wants me to do better. Okay? Bye.